Hello, Delray Cross here with another anachronism for you from the Anachronisms project that I've been doing. They're poems. It's a 20-year project. There's about 4,000 of them, and I've just been, for my own edification and clarification, and kind of just to figure out what this better, what I'm doing. I guess I've been reading these things, and in the process, I've been recording them, just in case anybody wants to, is interested. Because I don't do very, I haven't done readings in a long time, and I'm a ham. On Monday, July the 5th, 2021, I posted anachronism number 3,285. It's called The Pucker That Stuck. Everyone in 8th grade knew that Sigmund was full of himself, that he'd bent over backwards just to cast enough curiosity to turn the most eyes toward whatever general direction he happened to be in, relative to the highest concentration of individuals, factoring in algorithms that predetermine such things as influence and biggest bang for smallest buck, which he would swiftly, subtly, and inherently quantify based on some quick aggregated statistics of any group's constituents, of course. He'd finesse a sentence until it was so bloated with twists and tangles that most of its words almost fell outside, but yet, amazingly, never quite spilling over the double fortresses within which veracity is safely and securely contained. It was quite a way with words that Sigmund had, which he would use to slander incontrovertible facts, morphing them into something that would become almost debatable or impossible to prove, utilizing the devices most commonly, most commonly perfected by the world's most nefarious swayers and purveyors to cast spells over their various congregations so that the truth is chopped and churned within the minds of these more average citizens from something incontrovertible into something almost debatable and then impossible to prove. Until finally these truths are turned inside out and upside down so that each is a flat out fantasy, which in its new incarnation becomes impossible to have ever even believed. Sigmund had just been to the mall, a fairly irrefutable fact toward which his mother, who'd accompanied him on this excursion, could provide ample persuasive evidence. And while at the mall's bookstore, for more about what those are, I can recommend an article or two that, be fairly warned, you're not likely to find on the internet. He had coaxed, more and annoyed, his mother into purchasing for him a brand new hardcover edition of Hot Lips Make the Sexiest Kisses, 18 everyday exercises anyone can do to achieve excellent embouchure. He'd been wanting a copy of his own for over a year, and anyone could see he was downright giddy now that he had it in his hot little hands. Sigmund was a trumpeter, you see, but he was third trumpet out of 5 in the junior band. And Sigmund being Sigmund, he hated being anything but first or best at, well, anything. And dropping out of band was not an option, given the fact that within the confines of each 55-minute session, that band class stole from his relatively young life, which were held each day from Monday to Friday, and even some glorious weekends, which did not even take all of the football and basketball games into account. Sigmund had discovered that by far, relative to any other period of time in a given week, and it wasn't as if he hadn't had a rather extraordinary amount of practice at this. On this subject, he was, it could reliably be pronounced, the authority. He was easily able to wrest the most concentrated amounts of fully ascertainable attention away from the band's chagrined director, away from everything else, and for the longest durations, At times, this meant even the entire wealth of overly eager adolescent curiosity would be his for longer and longer durations. All of the focus clasped snugly within his pasty, overly moist, and, at least to anyone who might for any reason be paying close attention to them, shockingly minuscule hands. Also, and you might recall, as I mentioned this earlier, there was nothing in the world that Sigmund loved more than to toot his own horn.